back for video 5 in a series called Yoga and Mindfulness for Early Childhood Providers. In this video, I want to share with you some techniques and tools for keeping the kids engaged. Engagement is key, right? Yoga is about connection, and if the children aren't engaged, aren't enjoying it, then what's the point, right? So if we want them to really embody and embed the tools of yoga and mindfulness while we're teaching them, we need to make sure we engage them. So please, if you haven't yet seen the previous videos, these all kind of build on one another. So go back and explore those tools. So in today's video, I'm gonna start off by talking about how we can use music and warm-ups to right off the bat capture them and hook them into your being the leader, the guide. So, you know, when I walk into a classroom, and sometimes I work with kids over and over again, but a lot of times I'm doing a one and done single classroom visit. So I only have this one 20-minute lesson with this group of children, and it's like, how do I really capture them and bring them into this place where we can be together and breathe together peacefully and mindfully and maybe walk away with some good feelings. So I want my first 5 minutes to be fun, interactive, lots of movement, especially when I'm working with kids 6 and younger. We want to get some wiggles out. So I always start with music, and I might bring a stereo and play some of my favorite playlists, or I will come with songs ready to sing that are easy call and response. So let's get into the music. And then after we do music, we'll talk about some yoga sequencing ideas that take into mind how individual postures and techniques affect our energy, because we have to learn to meet the kids where they actually are. And so we need a variety of types of postures in our repertoire to really connect with them in the moment. So let's start off with the music, and we'll move into the yoga at the end. As we all kind of know instinctually, music is a great way to connect with children. Right from infancy, so many parents use songs to soothe their babies, to build connection, to express their love and joy, to engage with them. So we can do this same thing in a classroom. And we all know that yoga is meant to build a mind-body connection, and we know that music does the same thing. So really we're focusing on that key component of connection. So it's really important to provide warm-ups for children. And just like adults, we need the chance for our muscles to get some blood pumping into them so we avoid injury, and we're really loose and ready to do the deeper stretching in our yoga postures. So simple body movements such as stretches, just a little bit of reaching, squats, rolling the shoulders, rolling the wrists, rolling the ankles, teaching the body parts as we go along with these gentle warm-ups. That's really where we ought to begin. And we can use music in a few ways. We can have like a simple song almost every kid knows. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. You can do it sitting, you can do it standing, you can do it from a chair, but it gets them moving, gets them breathing, and syncs us up as a community, because again, so many of us already know that one. So there's a wonderful practice to start off with. Another warm-up song or welcome song that I like to use is called Hello Friends, and you'll see this used in like library story times all the time, or if you already have a circle time, you might use this. So you can totally use Hello Friends as your initiation into the yoga practice. I start by teaching the sign language involved. We'll say hello, so going from left to right ear. Friends, we'll take our pointer fingers or index fingers and we'll hug them like they're friends. Time, we're going to touch our right fingers to our left wrist like we're touching a watch. and say, where we touch our fingers to just below our lips. So the song is simple. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. And you do it a couple of times through, maybe 3 or 4 times even, so the kids feel successful, included, they're doing the sign language. And if you use this, say you're meeting with a group regularly to do yoga, or you're transitioning into yoga time in your classroom, this lets them know, hey, we're starting our yoga practice. So use this same song several times as you get to getting familiar with the practice. Another great warm-up song is called Let's All Stand in a Circle. And of course, I love that we get to stand in a circle. You can choose to hold hands or place your hands on your hips. And I like to start by just swaying, getting into a group rhythm. So as the group starts to sync up, and you're always going to have 1 or 2 kids a little bit off, it's okay. Remember, it's about having fun and connecting. So we start to find that loose energy and we begin singing. Let's all stand in a circle. Let's all stand in a circle. Let's all stand in a circle and take a breath or 2. Big in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more time. Good. Then we go into stomp our feet. Let's stomp our feet together. Let's stomp our feet together. High knees, stomp our feet together. And reach up very high and go all the way up, maybe come to toes. Let's reach up for the sky. Let's reach up for the sky. Alternate arms. And then both arms. Let's reach up for the sky. And down to ragdoll pose. Just forward fold here. Let's all sit down together. Let's all sit down together. Let's all sit down together. And bring our nose to toes. And that's a really fun one. You can sit around, you can bounce. This is a great opportunity to do a quick check-in around the circle. You can ask them how are they feeling, if they've had any special dreams come true, if they're in a good mood, in a bad mood, and normalize all the feelings and sort of create a welcoming space in your circle. I'll put the lyrics to that little ditty in the notes for this video. And, I really hope you play with it and make it your own. Moving forward, you now have a good idea of how to start with some simple warm-up songs and, just remembering to do the warm-up bit, even if it's just standing and shaking. In the first videos in this series, I taught a lesson on earthquake, which is just a shaking practice. Anything to help them get the energy in their body that might be stuck or tight. If they're feeling frustration or sadness or hunger, these can really get in the way of that connection we're going for. So giving that warm-up space for them to get some of the wiggles out. And then we can go into teaching yoga postures a little more safely and with a little bit more focus. Choosing the right yoga postures that engage your students is a skill that I feel like we develop over time. First of all, we have to get to know the kids. And second of all, we have to have a strong foundation in yoga ourselves, at least in the sense that the postures we're sharing with them are things we know and do ourselves so that we know how they affect our energy level, and we really get to convey from a place of personal experience what we're sharing. So I always say I teach from my own practice. I'm not going to teach something I don't myself do or benefit from, because what's the point? I want to share this good stuff with kids, adults, whoever I'm teaching. I do advocate having a lesson plan, being prepared. The more prepared you are with kids, the more prepared the environment, the space is, the more success you're going to have. But you also need to have the flexibility and knowledge to be able to really read the room and meet them where they are. So to be able to toss your plans aside and say, I know they need these 3 poses today. I know these poses are going to help. So that's what I hope you begin to develop with this video series and your own trial and error. But just keeping in mind, every yoga pose does affect our energy level in a different way. So, we need to know which poses energize us and which poses relax and calm us. So let's look at some poses and how they affect the body and mind in different ways. And what I've got for you here is a pretty balanced little sequence you can try with kids of a variety of ages that takes us through an arc, moving from starting with a mindfulness-based approach, mindful breath, and then balance posture to help build focus. And as we hit the peak of our practice, it's going to be something like core strengthening and getting some more movement in and really toning the body. And so it's a little bit more work and effort on all levels. And then we come back down the mountain or down from that peak with some relaxation and back to body and breath awareness. And what we hope to cultivate is a sense of equanimity, of balance, of inner calm. And every kid's balanced state is a little different. Some kids are naturally more high energy or low energy, but what we want is for each child to feel a sense of balance in themselves. And I've seen this work on the group energy as well, creating more balance within the group. So hopefully you'll enjoy this little sequence. I invite you to get on your mat with me. Pause the video if you need to go get something. Just comfortable, loose-fitting clothing. And this one doesn't even really require a yoga mat. You can use a mat if you like, but the simpler the better. So let's go ahead and get settled into our practice. Okay, here we are, ready on our mats. We've warmed up our bodies and we've connected with one another. So now let's connect with our breath. Sit crisscross applesauce with your back straight and your chest lifted. Practice some slow, deep breathing with me. Feel your bellies grow bigger as you deeply inhale and feel it growing smaller as you exhale. Feel free to touch your hands on your body here. If it helps you to focus on your breath, close your eyes. Inhale, feel your belly get big like a balloon. Exhale, feel your belly get smaller. What can you notice here? Do you hear any gurgles in there? As you breathe in, does the air smell like anything? At this point, we just invite exploration of the senses. So with our kiddos, we try to get them aware of simple mechanisms in their body and the space around them. We can do listening, smelling, tasting, any of the senses. And this slow, deep breathing soothes the nervous system. And it's a great way to begin our yoga session because we take this breath awareness into our yoga postures. So let's move into the next pose. Our next pose is tree pose. So come up and stand with me. And balanced postures encourage focus and steadiness. So tell your little yogis to stand up straight and tall with their feet together. So you maybe demonstrate heel toe, walking our feet together. And you can have them stand close to a desk or a wall. You can tell them if they need to lean against it for stability, they can. You can even invite, if the group is in the right mood, touching each other's shoulders. And if you're still in a circle, this is a really neat way to connect with everyone. But you just start to find your own balance with your feet really close together. And then you ask them, choose something to look at. So find something to get into a staring match with. And I usually encourage them to look up towards the ceiling a little bit. this helps to maintain their balance, better focus. So then ask them to start growing big roots. And if they're really little, you might need to do a lesson in advance about what roots are. Show them some roots in a plant, especially something with a nice long tap root, because I like to picture a tap root coming out from my solar plexus and down to the floor all the way, and then they spread. So we get rooted, and from this stable standing position, have them bend their right knee and turn it out to the side and place their heels on their left ankle. And this is a really good place to start. You can start to invite hands to prayer or standing and lifting tall. And tree pose, I really advocate using it often with kids because they seem to like to do it. We're building strength and flexibility in the hips. We're building strength in the legs and ankles. We're toning the muscles along the entire leg. We can build core, especially if we teach them to hug their bellies in. We build focus. It's a lot of beautiful things. And then we also get to talk about trees, which are wonderful. So I'm showing with my arms just some variations you can try. If you're doing partner style, you can play with touching arms behind the back, all sorts of different things here. But no matter what energy level you're working with, this is a fairly good place to begin. So coming back to standing on two legs, find your root, maybe do another reach up, maybe do another ragdoll pose. If you did the circle song warm up, you've already done some of that. And then make sure we switch sides and just, you can cover right and left. I've taken stickers and put them on the kids' left hand so they know right from left a little bit. So another way to increase, the hip opening here and to build focus and strength is to invite them to move their foot up the leg, maybe coming all the way up into the leg. This gets trickier. They can hold it with the hand, or they can practice with their hands at their heart. Their hips are overhead. And you, the adult, would benefit from doing this pose regularly on your own, to learning it, exploring what it has to offer you, teach you. I like to tell my students in my adult classes that the yoga posture works on you. You're not working on it. So really let the pose work on you. And then go and share it with the kids. So notice the sense of calm and focus we're cultivating here. Then you might invite them to stand and just take a few deep breaths when you're done. Great, so then we're gonna come down to hands and knees again. And as we come to the mat, this is our classic tabletop position. So we create a flat back. And the next two poses are often practiced together, cat and cow. And you've seen this in my other videos, but just for the sake of talking about energy here, you can go for increasing energy by moving somewhat quickly. So we would teach them to breathe in into cow, moo, breathe out into cat, meow. And then they can go back and forth, in and out. And if they go fairly quickly here, we just invite them to stay connected to the breath, and that's great. If we can tell that the group is already really high energy and we're just trying to kind of steady that energy, we might invite them to go slow motion. And sometimes I'll play with having that tempo controller remote where I'm like, okay, slow-mo. Kids love to act that stuff out. And it seems like younger and younger, they understand that kind of thing. So we slow it down, which means we slow down the breathing too. And then you can do what are called bird dogs, or you can come up with any number of names you want for this next move. But building core strength and balance, we take the right leg back, the left arm, so it's alternating the extension of one arm and leg. Exhale as you lower, inhale as you lift. And this can be something you do and you practice holding together. Tell them to squeeze their belly and their butts. Or you can alternate like I was demonstrating, inhale, extend, exhale, lower. And there are other variations, knee to elbow, and kick. And kids catch on to this really fast, and it's really good for building core awareness and strength. So I do recommend it for all ages. And this little cat-cow routine can be built on. You don't have to do it all every time. You could spend a long time on cat-cow, a short time on cat-cow, but really incorporating it into almost every practice is beneficial to kids, especially early, because it's fairly simple and so good for their spine, their core, and that mind-body connection. So moving into the peak of our practice here is downward dog. And again, downward dog is one that can be very energizing. But if we do it for a little while, it can also deplete our energy. So playing with what the group is expressing, what need they're expressing, if they're really wiggly and hyper, or it's winter and they're not able to play outside, or their recess was very short and they just really have a lot of pent-up energy, doing longer holds with downward dog can really meet where they are. So we just want to start off teaching good foundation from tabletop. Spread your fingers, keep your hands flat on the mat, and then lift your hips up into dog pose. And we know that from watching dogs that dogs really enjoy stretching. So same with cat and cow and these animal postures. Just maybe incorporate that, like, oh, think about your dog and how happy they are when they give that big stretch. And if they have a tail, they might move the tail, and you invite play here. Maybe you create a long tail with one of your legs by lifting it high into the sky. Good. Maybe you just switch legs and you do that tail again, but this time you take a puppy pant and you bring your foot down. Maybe you bend your knees and move your head side to side. And again, they can stay here for a little bit of time. And it's exerting some energy, building stamina. You're teaching breath work here. You're always reminding them to breathe deep and slow. So if the group is really wiggly and you want to do a little bit more, you can do monkey claps where we lift our feet and clap them. You can challenge some of the kids to do multiple claps and just see what you can do here. And as we really build some energy here, we come out of that pose right into child's pose. So child's pose is that go-to posture where kids can kind of tuck in, find a safe space, and you just get settled. And I encourage you to bring your arms in for this one, slide your shoulders apart. And we just kind of encourage them to let go of everything. And maybe we come back to that plant analogy where we imagine we're a baby seed buried in the earth and waiting for the perfect moment to pop out of our seed, the case. And it's just that place to slow down, and this is where we start to really feel the coming down from the peak. And before we lose them, we shift positions. You can start to tell when you're losing them, but leave them there as long as they'll let you. If they're enjoying it, leave them there a little while, but then invite them to crawl their way onto their backside. And I usually, to slow kids down a bit, I'll say, pretend you're super heavy and get onto your back and spread your body out. So Shavasana is just lying flat on your back. Okay, and from that flat on their back position, and hopefully you're flat on your back right now, and just stay there if you are. Lying flat on your back, breathe into your belly, and you can do any number of strategies to retain them here, to keep their engagement flowing. I promise you, you're not going to have much trouble from tree to cat-cow to dog. Those are usually poses that I have no trouble engaging kids with, but relaxation can be tricky. Child's pose is tricky if you didn't do something like downward dog right beforehand. But to keep them here in this comfortable relaxation of Shavasana, or what we would call final rest pose, is ring a bell. So in my mindfulness video, I talked about bell ringing as a tool to extend the moment, extend the breath. So ring a bell, listen to the bell together. I've also talked in other videos about placing a stuffed animal on the abdomen and taking that animal for a tummy ride. This works really great with the 3 to 5 year olds. They love it. They get so sweet. If you dim the lights and you give them a little stuffy buddy, they will stay on the mat. They might be wiggly, but they'll be resting in their own way, taking a moment of introversion together, which is really powerful. You can also invite visualization, so you can have them imagine that they're resting inside of a cloud. What would that feel like? And engage their sensory imaginations in that way. I like to do raft floating on the water as well. So you just sort of lengthen this moment. Again, it depends on your group how long you can stay there, but on those really wonderful, fabulous days where we can stay there for many minutes together, as we sit back up, and where I like to end our practice is back in that crisscross applesauce position. But you can tell after a longer rest pose, it's so much easier to get them here in this meditation posture and to focus on their breath. So we just close the practice again by bringing our attention inward to the breath. Maybe we close the eyes and touch the body. And we always want to sit up slowly from our rest pose. And as we get here, and I invite you to join me here now, just taking 3 deep breaths together. In through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then bringing our hands like this in front of our hearts and inviting the kids to close with a little bit of gratitude, explaining that gratitude is when we are thankful for the things that we have and the people we love, and inviting you to be thankful for your body today, thankful for your mind, thankful for your heart, and thankful for your breath. And we take another big breath. And from my heart to yours, thank you so much for practicing with me. May your day be happy, healthy, and fun. Bye-bye and good luck. Please leave comments if you have questions about how to engage kids with yoga.